Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry for. Okay, first of all, I want to discuss if you have any doubts in the exam paper, that is Sundays, because some people wanted to ask doubts. Earlier, you don't have paper. Now it is easy for me to screen share. So on the screen, you can see very first question. Anybody any doubt in that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The question is limit extends to infinity e square by 1 plus 2 by x whole power x by 2. Okay. Okay. Now we know first of all that this answer is e square, the limit. Why? You can write this as 1 plus 2 by x whole power. This x is there, that you can write 1 by x by 2 and square of that. 1 plus t whole power 1 by t tending to 0. Okay, the limit is infinite. Okay, this is also 2 by x. Okay, so this is becoming e, this is becoming square, or when base is becoming 1 and the power is becoming infinity. Okay, we have formula e power f of x minus 1 into g of x. We can use that. This limit is e square. Pretty clear, the denominator limit is e square, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is e square, this is e square, this is becoming 1 and the power is becoming infinity. Again, it is in the form of 1 power infinity. So this itself is in the form of 1 power infinity. This total is in the form of 1 power infinity. So I can use e power limit extends to infinity base minus 1 into the power e square by 1 plus 2 by x whole power x minus 1 into this power which is x by 2. That is the formula e power f of x minus 1 into g of x. That formula. Okay. Now what to do with this? This is a difficult question relatively. A power limit extends to infinity. When I take LCM here, I'll get e square minus 1 plus 2 by x whole power x by 1 plus 2 by x whole power x into x by 2. Yeah, that's right. This is power. I don't think I have to worry about this because this is becoming e square. It is not anything with, but this and this is becoming 0 into infinity. I have to deal with that. Limit extends to infinity. So this I am directly substituting e square. This one, I think I can write a power, let us say x power y as e power log of x power y. That is going to become e power y log x. This power y can be taken out, right? Like that, this part can be written as e power log of this, which is x log of 1 plus 2 by x. And this I'm directly writing the limit e square, and this x by 2 I'm keeping it as it is. Okay, so first of all you have to recognize this is becoming e square, this is becoming 1 power infinity. So base minus 1 into the power, then we simplified. This limit is e square, nothing to worry. Here this is also variable, this is also variable. We don't have any suitable formula and limits, so I'm writing e power and wrote like this. Okay. Now this and this I can take common. It will be 1 by 2 e square. How to deal with this? I can take e square common, so that I'll get by 2. Because I'll get e power f of x minus 1 by g of x. I want to do that. Let me take e square and in fact minus e square common. I will be getting limit extends to infinity. Because I'm taking this common, I'll get e power x log of 1 plus 2 by x minus 1 minus 2, sorry. This is e square, this is minus 2. Because this by this I'm taking a power m by a power n is a power n minus 1 minus 1 in, okay, this 2 pound, this is 1, only this into x is left. That's all. Okay. Of course, right now this is 0 by 0 form. I can use L'Hospital rule also. That means if you write this x as 1 by x down, this is becoming 0, that 1 by x is becoming 0. Somebody can use L'Hospital rule. I'm trying to avoid L'Hospital rule, but we can use L'Hospital rule, nothing wrong. Okay. So up to here, anybody any doubt?
No, sir.
No.
Sir, will you explain the last step once again?
Okay. I just took e square common. Okay. If you don't like this step, another way to do this part is don't worry about 2e square. Take e square minus e power x log 1 plus 2x. This x you can write 1 by x. This is 0 by 0 form now, because when you directly put infinity, this limit is 2. Okay. E square minus e square is 0. This is 0. 0 by 0 form. You can use L'Hospital rule. But what I have done is I took e square common with a minus also. When I take e square common, I have to divide this one with e square. E power something by e square will be e power the difference of the powers. Here 1 will be left because I reversed it. This is minus 1. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I have to erase on the top and right.
Sir, how the denominator became e square, sir?
Oh, that is the very first thing. You have to understand how this is e square. I wrote here. This I wrote by 2 and into 2. Okay. 1 plus t whole power 1 by t, the limit is e and there is a square. So that's how this limit is e square. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's why it is in the form of 1 power infinity. We could write this. Not that anytime we can write. But understand how this is becoming 1, how this is becoming infinity. Okay. Now I have here minus e square got cancelled. I would have just divided this e square there. It's okay. Both are same. I got only minus 1 by 2 here. Okay. For e power, we have a formula that e power x minus 1 by x, the limit is 1 if x is tending to 0. Okay. So here e power x log 1 plus 2 by x into 2 minus 1. I'll divide with x log 1 plus 2 by x into 2 and multiply with that x log 1 plus 2 by x into 2, and already there is one x there. Okay. So I just whatever is the power of e, which is just minus 2 here. Okay. So whatever is the power of e, I divide and multiply with that. Now it is like e power some f of x minus 1 by same f of x, and that is tending to 0. So this will become 1 based on the formula. So this will become 1 because of the formula e power x minus 1 by x. So I can write limit x tends to what? 0 e power x minus 1 by x equal to 1 based on that. Now this is gone. I have to worry about the rest of the limit now. This is not into 2 minus. Okay. L'Hospital rule is easier, as I said, in a particular step here. Even now, somebody can use L'Hospital if they want to. Just a minute. Okay, now I'm left with x log 1 plus 2 by x. I can take one x common here and write minus 2 by x. This x I took common. This x and this x became x square. I'll bring it down by x square by 1 by x square. I should write. There is a minus 1 by 2 also. Okay. Now, how to solve this? Either you have to use L'Hospital rule or expansions, but before that, I will show you. Let us I'll multiply with one more 2 here. I'm going to write here 2 by x whole square and multiply with 4. If we take this as t, this as t, this as t, it is like limit t tends to 0 log 1 plus t minus t by t square. This and this together is minus 2. Okay. This alone, if you see, it is based on expansions, or you can use L'Hospital rule. Because what is the expansion of log 1 plus t? 1 minus x plus x square by 2 minus x cube by 3 plus x power 4 by 4. Is it expansion of log 1 plus x? Am I right? 1 is not there. Right? X minus x square by 2 plus x cube by 3 minus x power 4. Isn't correct or 1 only? Yeah, this is expansion of log 1 plus x, 1 plus t. If you subtract t, you will be left with minus x square by 2. In that, this x square or t square will cancel, you will be left with minus half. Minus half into minus 2 is plus 1. Is finally answer is plus 1? E. Oh, because this whole thing is power of e, I forgot to write. Yeah. So this e power I forgot left after that. So this value is 1 and e power 1 is e. Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, due to lack of space, I may not be writing all the steps or something. But overall, it is quite a difficult question of almost like advanced level type. And you should have some specific ideas. Okay, let me share further. Okay, anybody any doubt about second question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, second question. It is a perfect square, right? Yeah, that's it. It's not difficult. Why? Integer part of sine inverse x square minus 1 whole square less than equal to 0. Okay. So the given one is expansion of this. Something whole square, can it be less than 0?
No, sir.
No. So integer part of sine inverse x whole square minus 1 should be equal to 0. That means integer part of sine inverse x square equal to 1. Integer part of sine inverse x equal to 1 or minus 1. Okay. If you want integer part of sine inverse x is 1, sine inverse x should be between 1 to 2, but sine inverse x cannot cross 1. So this will give you only option is sine inverse x must be 1. Okay, because more than 1 you cannot take sine inverse x values. Can you take? Yeah, it can be up to pi by 2, right? So sorry. So when you say integer part of sine inverse, in fact I can draw the graph of sine inverse x integer part and I'll show you. In the within the principal values, the graph of sine x is this. This is a graph of sine x where this is pi by 2, this is 1, this is minus pi by 2, this is minus 1. In within the principal values, this is a graph of sine x. What is the graph of sine inverse x? Take this one with respect to y equal to x, find mirror image. So it will be like this, it will be like this, where this is 1 and this is pi by 2, which is around 1.57, and this is minus 1 and this is minus pi by 2, which is minus 1.57. Okay, this is the graph of y equal to sine inverse x. If this is 1.57, somewhere 1 will be there. Can what is that x value where sine inverse x becomes 1? Anybody want to tell me that? What is the x value so that sine inverse x answer will be 1?
Sine 1, sir.
Yes, it is sine 1. Similarly, when it will be minus 1, that is at sine of minus 1, which is minus sine. Okay. Is this graph everybody is okay? First of all, is the video clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, what is it I want? I want to draw integer part of this graph now. So if I take, I'll erase this now. Okay, this is a graph of y equal to sine inverse x. What is the graph of y equal to integer part of sine inverse x? Is that all these values which are between 0 to 1, integer part will be 0. You'll get step 0. But at sine 1, it will be 1 till 1.57, integer part is 1 only. So next I will be getting step 1. This is at 1. This is sine. So between sine 1 to 1, everywhere it is 1 only. Because 1 to 1.57. Next, coming to this side, all these values are between 0 to -1. Integer part will be -1. So it will be like this, which is -1, and this is minus sine 1. And these small values from -1 to -1.57, all the integer part will be -2. So I'll get step -2. Okay. At minus sine 1 also it is -1 closed here. That's fine. Everything is good. So this is -1. This is -2. Okay. So integer part of sine inverse x can be 1, can be 0, can be -1, can be -2. When it will be 1 for all these values between sine 1 to 1. So this part will give you x belongs to closed interval sine 1 to 1. When it will be -1, these values minus sine 1 to open 0. So this will give you x belongs to closed interval -1 open interval 0. Their union is a solution for that. This or this means union. That is answer sine 1 to 1 union minus sine 1 to 0. Yes. Okay. Is it okay, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third question. Anybody has doubt? No. Okay. Fourth question. Yesterday I explained to a few people. The key is not fully correct. So I just want to give some clarity on that once again.
The third one also.
Third one also. Okay. I hope all of you have gone through solutions, and after that also still you can have doubts. You're asking that doubt. Third one is the number of solutions of 3 plus cos x whole square equal to 4 minus 2 sine 8 power x. Okay. 3 plus cos x, what is the range? 2 to 4. 3 minus 1, yeah. Oh, I think some kind of inequality can be used here. Let us see. 3 plus cos x whole square, 4 minus 2 sine power 8x. Okay. Now, 3 plus cos x alone, the minimum value is 2 and maximum value is 4. When you square it, it will be from 4 to 16, isn't it? Okay, so this range is closed 4 to 16. This one, this is between 0 to 1 into 2 will be between 0 to 2, closed 0 to closed 2. From 4, if you subtract that, I think 4 minus 0 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, it is closed 2 to 4. RHS range is this. Everybody agrees? Okay. Now, 4 minus a positive number, basically RHS is less than or equal to 4. Here minimum value is 2, total minimum, so this is greater than or equal to 4. LHS is greater than or equal to 4, RHS is less than or equal to 4. Can they be equal? The only chance they can be equal is when both are 4. Otherwise, something more than 4 cannot be equal to something less than 4. So,
Force.
in trigonometric equations, in past year mains questions, especially even in 2020, you will find a lot of questions on extreme values. Okay, it is not about solving this equation. It can be solved, but many times you find a range of this, you will find this is greater than or equal to k, this is less than or equal to k. Both should be equal only for k. That kind of things situation will come. Anyway, so now I can conclude 3 plus cos x whole square must be 4 and 4 minus 2 sine power 8x must be 4. And for this 3 plus cos x must be minus 2 only. Not minus 2, sorry, plus 2 only. And cos x must be minus 1. That is the minimum. Here sine power 8x must be 0. Sin x must be 0. So sin x equal to 0 have solution like 0, pi, 2 pi. But cos x should be minus 1. We should not forget that also. Okay. So that is only, you cannot take 0 now, you cannot take 2 pi, you have to take only pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, 7 pi, which are also taken care here. Okay. If this happens, this will happen. If this happens, this may not happen. Plus 1 also may happen. Okay. So I think if 9 pi is there in the interval, 9 pi is also considered. No, 9 pi is open. So we got only 4 solutions: pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, 7 pi. Okay, this is based on extreme values. Somehow I can expand it and do it also. I think I'll be able to manage. Is it okay? Third one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fourth one. They gave 3 equations. Particularly, I'm writing reverse order. Last equation I'm writing first. 1, 1, 3, 4. 1, 2b, 5. 2a, 6, 8. So whenever you have questions based on consistency, inconsistency, unique, infinite solution, no solution, I said lot of theory and explained, but at the end of all that, I said 2 main points. First, you find delta. If delta not equal to 0, it is unique solution. If delta is 0, we have 2 cases. If delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 all are 0, it is infinite solution. If at least one of them is non-zero, delta 1 not equal to 0, or delta 2 not equal to 0, or delta 3 not equal to 0, or all three or any two of them not equal to 0, it is a case of no solution. Okay, everything is fine, but this infinite solutions is not fully guaranteed. It is correct only when no two planes are parallel or no two planes are identical. Okay. If some planes are identical, sometimes you can have delta, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 or 0, but still you may have no solution. Okay. So there it is not fully foolproof. But rank method is foolproof. I said if this rank and the total rank are 3, unique solution. If this rank and the total rank are equal but not 3, 2 or 1 or something, then it is a case of infinite solution. If this rank is different from the total rank, it is a case of no solution. Okay. But neither this nor that I will use it. I only use 2 things. I explain this theory, but I don't waste time finding delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 and all. It's sometimes confusing. Delta not equal to 0, unique solution is very simple. Okay. If delta is 0, then I'll go for converting into that these 3 into 0, that echelon form of Gauss-Jordan method kind of. That tells me mostly everything. I can see everything clearly. If I get 0 here, non-zero number here, okay, that is a no solution. If all are 0 and here it is not some 5 here, 7 here, then it is a case of infinite solutions. If non-zero here, no solution. If it is 0 here, based on this, mostly I can conclude infinite solutions. Okay. So converting these into zeros gives a good clarity. Okay. So I always go for this method, and I don't know in your class, but at least in room number 5, for which I sent the recording also, I've done a lot of questions. Okay. So if somebody, you might have done questions, but you're not fully clear about this, you can look for that recording, which day it is. Otherwise, I have to send the link. You can see it. Okay. Anyway, I want to convert these 3 into zeros. R1, sorry, R2, I want to write R2 minus R1. R3, I want to write R3 minus 2R2. 1, 1, 3, 4. This is 0, 1, B minus 3, 1. This is 0, A minus 2, 0, 0. This is slightly different from the previous type of questions, because you may get many times you'll get 0 here. Here 0, non-zero, non-zero, 0, both 0 cases will come. But here we got. But it's okay, not a problem. Now I can find delta of this easily. Delta equal to 1 into this is 0 minus of A minus 2 into B minus 3. Okay. So one obvious thing, A is not equal to 2, B not equal to 3 implies delta not equal to 0. So obviously it is unique solution. Okay. What if A is 2 and B is 3? That is 0 here. You'll have 0 here. Very one whole row is 0. When you put 0 here, you'll get y value. Here, okay, in fact, it is easily, you can see it is infinite solutions. What are those infinite solutions also? I can tell you that you'll get y equal to 1 and x plus 3z equal to 3. X and z can vary, that's why it is infinite solutions. Okay, next, let us say A is 2, but B not equal to 3. Okay, A equal to 2. Then one whole row is 0. Definitely infinite solutions, no doubt. But the infinite solution may differ from the previous one because B not equal to 3. This will give you y plus B minus 3z equal to 1. Okay. You fix z, you'll find y, and fix that z and y here, you'll get x. Because z varies, even y and x also varies. So it is infinite solutions. Okay. What else is there? A not equal to 2 and B equal to 3. Okay, this is non-zero, but this is 0. Then what happens? Let us see. 1, 1, 3, 4, 0, 1, 0, 1. This is 0, some non-zero number 0 and 0. This is obviously no solution. This is no solution. Why? Because from this equation, I'll get y equal to 1. Let us say I got some 7 here, for example, or 2 here, 5 here. 5y equal to 0 means y equal to 0, and here y equal to 1. How can y have two simultaneous equations? Which is not possible. All right. In fact, if I multiply with this and subtract here, I can even make this into 0 and this non-zero number. Okay, so this is a case of no solution. So when here unique solution is consistent in this case, here infinite solution consistent here infinite solution consistent here. Only this case when A not equal to 2 but B equal to 3 is the case of no solution, which is inconsistent. We have only one case of inconsistent, every other case is consistent. So they ask when it is consistent, but option B, C, D all are right. I hope it's quite clear. Fourth one. Okay. Any doubt about 5 or 6? You can see on the screen. Share. Okay, no doubt. 7, anybody doubt? 8, 9, 10. Up to 10, any
So
doubts?
9,
Anybody? 9th one. Okay.
9, sir.
If you want concurrent, det equal to 0, you will take, right? Yeah. But the reverse is not true. Whenever det is 0, don't think they are concurrent. They may be parallel lines. If 2 lines are parallel or 3 lines are parallel also, you will get det 0. Okay, so it is not if and only if condition. If they are concurrent, that is 0. But if that is 0, it is not necessary that they are concurrent. They may be parallel lines also. So if you simply take that and you'll get a quadratic equation, I'm not sure. I'll check it once. Let me see. Roshni, are you there in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why are you absent yesterday?
We had function.
Achha, okay, all right. I hope you are not disgraced after the exam.
Somewhat.
Okay. Yeah, some displacement will be there after exam, but after the hours you should, should come back and work again. Okay. Yesterday, anybody else is absent in the class, physical class? Hasini, you are also absent, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why are you absent?
So I wasn't feeling well.
Okay. Boys, anybody is absent yesterday to physical class?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Bhargav, are you there in the class now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So coming to ninth one, if I take the determinant 1, 1, minus 1, P4, 2, and 4, P7 equal to 0. Of course, basically how this method came is you find point of intersection of two lines and substitute in the third line, you will get an expansion, that is this, and if that is 0, the point of intersection is satisfying. That's how it is derived. Okay. Now, when I expand straight away without any complications, I will get 28 minus 2p minus 1 into 7p minus 8 minus 1 into p square minus 16 equal to 0. So 28 minus 2p minus 7p plus 8 minus p square plus 16 equal to 0. So minus p square goes that side, p square. This is minus 90 goes that side, plus 90, 36, 46, 52, minus 52 equal to 0. Okay. So I can write p square plus 13p minus 4p minus 52 equal to 0. Somebody can easily think these have two roots, both are correct, and some other roots is minus 9. That is where they can go wrong. It is actually roots are p plus 13 into p minus 4 equal to 0. P equal to minus 13 or 4. P equal to minus 13, okay, they're all different lines. But p equal to 4, I'll share you the equation. See what happens to when p equal to 4. Tell me, when you take p equal to 4, what happens?
Both becomes parallel.
All three lines will become parallel lines. Second line will become 4x plus 4y plus 2, and third line will become 4x plus 4y. If you take 4 common, all lines have slope minus 1. Not just second and third line are parallel. All three lines are parallel. Okay. So when all three lines are parallel also, obviously determinant will be 0. Why obviously determinant will be 0? Let us see if I have A, B, C. Okay. Here ABC1, ABC2, and ABC3. AX plus BY equal to C1, AX plus BY equal to C2, AX plus BY equal to C3. They're parallel lines, but that is 0 because two columns are equal, right? Or at least after taking A common, B common. Okay, so that's why. When two lines are parallel, it may not become 0. Okay, when three lines are parallel, it will become 0. So that is where somebody can go wrong in that question. So the option B is one of the possible wrong answers people can keep. Okay, 10 or 11? Anybody any doubt?
11, sir.
11. Okay. I prefer, instead of directly applying cos, I'll get the square roots I want to solve. I'll get square roots, but still, if I send one of them to other side, things may be better. Let me see that. Cos inverse 2x is equal to 2 pi by 3 minus cos inverse x. I can directly apply cos on both sides. I'll get two square roots. I don't want to have fourth degree equation after squaring it. I'll call this as A, this as 2 pi by 3 minus B. I'll call it this as A, this as B, and apply cos. Cos A equal to cos 2 pi by 3 cos B minus sine 2 pi by 3 sine B. Cos A is 2x. This is minus of, this is x. This is minus root 3 by 2. This is root over 1 minus x square. Okay. Now I can bring this on this side. 5x by 2 is equal to minus root 3 by 2 square root of 1 minus x square. I think right here we can understand x has to be negative. No, cos A plus is formula plus here, then it's okay. X has to be positive. Because RHS is positive, x has to be positive. And I can cancel 2, square it. 25x square equal to 3 minus 3x square. 28x square equal to 3. So I got a quadratic equation only, not a fourth degree equation. X square equal to 3 by 28. We'll get x is equal to plus root 3 by root 28. That is 2 root 7. or minus root 3 by 2 root 7? Are they both okay? Let us see. What is the original question? Cos inverse x plus cos inverse y is equal to 2 pi by 3. Okay. When it is positive, this is an acute angle, this is an acute angle. Sum of the two acute angles can be 120 by possible. But when it is negative, this is an obtuse angle, this is an obtuse angle, and sum of two obtuse angles will be crossing 180 because this is greater than 90, this is greater than 90, this is greater than 180. So it is not okay, and it is okay. Is it okay for this question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now one may ask why I am getting this solution. Okay, is because from here to here you applied cos. Whenever a is equal to b, I can no doubt say cos a equal to cos b. But converse is not true. Can I say when cos a equal to cos b, is it for sure a equal to b?
No, sir.
No, sir.
If a is minus b, also apply cos, same thing will come. If a is 2 pi minus b, also apply cos, same thing will come. If a is 2 pi plus b, also apply cos, same thing will come. Okay. So when I'm applying cos, I should understand there is a good chance that I'll get extra solutions, because if I put plus 2 pi, plus 4 pi, plus 6 pi, also the step is same, no difference. Okay. In fact, I think actually if I take this as 2 pi minus 2 pi by 3 minus b, okay, then I will get this minus root 3 by root 27. Okay, because if I have 4 pi by 3 here, that is crossing pi, most probably it is that two obtuse angles. Instead of 2 pi by 3, if I have 4 pi by 3, also more or less everything is same. 4 pi by 3 plus. It's okay, all right, anyway. $12 or 13? Anybody any doubts?
13th one, sir.
13th, okay. Just a minute. Just a minute, I'll fill some in here. Just few minutes, think about to try some question. No problem. Okay, this is sin cube x minus 3 sin x plus 4. Which of the following is true? What is the greatest value? On a closed interval, whenever you want maximum value or minimum value of any function, I said very simple thing. You find at the beginning of the interval, end of the interval, and in between wherever derivative is 0. And Rolle's theorem, Lagrange theorem, we'll talk about it later. Okay. So f of x is equal to sine cube x minus 3 sine x plus 4. I can even differentiate and understand. Let us see what is happening. 3 sine square x cos x minus 3 cos x. If that is 3 cos x, if I take common, it is sine square x minus 1. This is minus cos square x. So minus 3 cos cube x, which is less than 0. Oh, the function is strictly decreasing. Doesn't have any critical values in open interval 0 to pi by 2. Okay, because between 0 to 90, this is positive. There's a minus. Yeah. So this is a function. I differentiated this. This sine square x minus 1 is minus cos square x. Finally, I got this. That is less than 0 for x belongs to, or less than equal to 0 for x belongs to 0 to pi by 2. It is a strictly decreasing function. Then it will have maximum value will be f of 0 only straight away, which is 4. Minimum value will be f of pi by 2. At pi by 2, this is 1. 5 minus 3, 2. So it is strictly decreasing from 4 to 2. Now, can you apply Lagrange's mean value theorem? Yes. Can we apply Rolle's theorem? No. Because for Rolle's theorem, f of a and f of b should be equal. They are not equal. Lagrange's mean value theorem should be only continuous and differentiable, and this is a nicely continuous and differentiable. So no issue with that. So LMVT is not applicable, wrong. Rolle's theorem is applicable, that is also wrong. Greatest value is 4. Okay, 14. Anybody any doubt? 12th one, your doubt. Okay. Integer part of tan square x in the neighborhood of pi by 4. At pi by 4, it is 1. Just before pi by 4, it is 0. Just after, it is not even continuous at pi by 4. What is speak of differentiability? Okay, because at pi by 4, tan x is 1, and integer part of tan x is also 1. But just before pi by 4, it is less than 1. Integer part will be 0. Just after pi by 4, it's little more than 1. Integer part will be 1. So right limit is 1 and left limit is 0. It is not even continuous. So it is not differentiable. Is it okay, 12th one?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt about 14? $15?
Yes,
15,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Locus of centroid with angle BAC is 90. Okay. So we have minus 3 comma 0 here, 3 comma 0 here. You can take any right angle triangle basically, because they said this is B, this is C, A can be here. What is the locus of the centroid? They're asking. Now you take the midpoint, and in fact right angle triangle is also not important to me, but it's okay, fine. You join to this, centroid will divide this median in the ratio 2:1, right? So if this is 3 units, this will be 1 unit, right? Every time it is same. This is also 3 units, centroid will be at a distance 1 unit. This is also 3 units, centroid is distance to 1 unit. So every time the centroid is at a distance 1 unit from this. So x square plus y square equal to 1. That's it. Is it okay? Of course, I can tell some other. I'm telling A can be anywhere on this circle because angle BAC is 90. OA is your median every time. And centroid will divide median the ratio 1:2. This is 3 units means OG is 1 unit here, here also, here also. Every time OG is 1 unit. So locus of G is a circle with center as origin and radius is 1 unit. Is that okay? Okay. If you still want to do something else, take this as 3 cos theta comma 3 sin theta, the general point on the circle. Okay. Thanks to you, no. You find the centroid and eliminate theta. That is easier. When you find the centroid, it will come cos theta comma sin theta. That's it. Very simple. Take this plus this by 3. That is cos theta. 0 plus 0 plus 3 sin theta by sin theta. So cos theta comma sin theta is the centroid. Okay. So locus square and add, you'll get 1. Done. Almost same. The circle equation is x square plus y square equal to 9. You take centroid as x1, y1. If you know centroid and you know two vertices, you can find third vertex. That will come 3x1 comma 3y1, and that should satisfy this circle equation. 3x1 whole square plus 3y1 whole square equal to 9. Cancel 9. You will get x1 square plus y1 square equal to 1. That's the locus. Again, you will get x square plus y square equal to 1. Okay, 16 or 17. Anybody need doubt?
16, sir.
Which one?
16.
16. Okay. Uh, 16. The matrices all have the same value of the determinant. Okay. So det A is equal to det of 4A inverse equal to det of A transpose. And also det of adjoint A is adjoint A itself is 2 times A transpose. You can equate det also. Det of adjoint A is det of 2A transpose. Then what is det of 3A inverse? Okay. And 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, so we have 3 things now. Det of adjoint A is det A whole square, and this is 2 cube times det of A transpose, which is 2 cube times det A. That for a 3 by 3, in general, det of adjoint A is det A power n minus 1, and for a 3 by 3 matrix, det A whole square. Det of Ka is k power n into det A, because k will come common n times in n rows. Okay. So because of 2A transpose means you have to multiply the whole matrix with 2. When you take that, 2 will come common thrice. That's the 2 cube. Det of A transpose same as det A. You can cancel det A here, det A here. Right here you got det A equal to 8. So this is all unnecessary waste. Okay. And coming to this, it is simply 3 cube into det of A inverse, and 3 cube into det of A inverse is 1 by det A. And 1 by det A is 1 by 8. So I think you'll get 27 by 8. If you want to use this, det A and det A transpose anyway equal, we know that. There's no use of that. Coming to this, det A, this is 4 cube. Det of A inverse is 1 by det A into 1 by det A. Bring it here, you will get det A whole square equal to 4 cube. Det A can be plus or minus 8 here. This is giving det A plus or minus 8, but this is straight away giving det A equal to plus 8 only, not minus 8. So that's it, plus 27 by 8. Yeah, if they would have given one option as minus 27 by 8, it is good. Otherwise, this alone is giving an answer, this alone is also giving an answer. We don't need both data. Any doubt about 17 or 18?
18, sir.
Okay. 18 is quite straightforward in the sense they wanted tan inverse x is equal to 2 sin inverse A should have a solution. Basically, as long as this RHS is within the range of LHS, you'll get solution. When the values of this go outside the range of this, will not have a solution. So LHS, what is the range? Open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So based on that, 2 sin inverse A should belong to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. When you divide with 2, sin inverse A should belong to minus pi by 4 to pi by 4. Then A should belong to minus 1 by root 2 to 1 by root 2. So only when A is between minus 1 by root 2 to 1 by A belongs to minus 1 by root 2 to 1 by root 2. Only when A belongs to minus 1 by root 2 to 1 by root 2, this will be between minus 90 to 90 open interval, and this will have a solution. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else up to 18? Okay. 19 or 20? Any doubts?
19, sir.
Okay. Again, Whenever you want, they want local maximum also. Okay. I think instead of writing numbers, they should write words. Only one local maximum, TW or two local maximum. Doesn't look too nice to read, but it's okay. Nice given. Just Anybody has been to Republic Day celebration anytime? Not in the school by police people or government side. Anybody attended any such thing?
Yes, sir.
Where you
Yes, sir.
attended?
Sir, in steel plant, they will do.
Acha. Okay, the CISF.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Central Industrial Security. All right, that's good. Anyway, this is f of x is equal to 2 sin x minus e power x. Okay, last Sunday and today I had a lot of plans to go out, but the last Sunday I had to take some KVPY classes. Today your class and KVPY class again both. It's okay, all are work. F dash x is 2 cos x minus e power x. Okay, they're asking about local maximum, okay, or local minimum, or how many are there and all that. So where it is 0, when it is positive, when it is negative, I have to understand that. Maybe I can well understand from the graph. They gave any interval, the question. Yeah, 0 to pi. So x belongs to closed interval 0 to pi. I should draw the graph. Coming to this, when this is greater than this, when it is less than this, maybe I can understand from the graph of whether this is greater than this. Or I'll draw y equal to 2 cos x graph separately, y equal to e power x graph separately in the same sheet. 2 cos x between 0 to pi will be like this. This is 2. This is minus 2. Cos x graph between 0 to 180, it starts with +1 and become -1. When you multiply with 2, okay, this is a graph of y equal to 2 cos x. Let me draw y equal to e power x graph. It will be like this because this is 0, 1, and I'm sure it will go high above later at pi by 2. Pi by 2 is 1, so e power, yeah, even at pi by 2 it goes quite high like this. Okay, there is a solution. I don't know what is that. Okay, where these two are equal, there's a solution. I don't know what is that. I'll call alpha, but definitely alpha is between 0 to pi. What is between 0 to pi? You can easily see between 0 to alpha, 2 cos x is greater than e power x. This is 2 cos x. This is e power x. But after alpha, e power x is greater than 2 cos x. So when I take that alpha, 0 and pi, what is that alpha? I cannot tell exactly, but there is a solution where up to that, this is greater than this is positive. And after that, this is greater than this is negative. That means the function increased and then decreased. At alpha, the function has maximum. So there is only one local maximum. Finding that what is that x where it is maximum is difficult to guess. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubt about 20? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Y equal to x and y equal to 2x. This is y equal to x. This is y equal to 2x. There is a line segment of length 4. What is the locus of the midpoint of that? Okay. So it may be at any slant 1 also. This is 2. This is 2. This is some x1, y1. Where to find locus of that? Okay, this is P and this is Q. Okay, I'm sure we can do in different ways. So this point which is on y equal to x, I'm going to call it as some a comma a. This point which is on y equal to 2x, I'm going to take a comma b comma 2b. Okay. My job is to find both a and b in terms of x1, y1. Okay. When I find the midpoint, a plus b by 2 is equal to x1, and y coordinate a plus 2b by 2 is y1. Two equations, two unknowns. I think I can find a well and b well. In fact, from this, if I subtract this, y1 minus x1 will come b by 2. So b is equal to 2 times y minus x1. And if you want a, I have to eliminate b. Multiply 2 and subtract. Take 2x1 minus y1. I'll get a by 2. So a is equal to 2 times 2x1 minus y. Okay. 2x1 minus y1 is 2a minus a by 2. And 2. That's good. All right. Now the distance should be 4. That's all. 4 is equal to pq is equal to, or 4 square equal to pq square equal to a minus b whole square plus a minus 2b whole square. If I can just find this in terms of x1, y1, substitute and expand, it will come. What is a minus b? From this, if I subtract 4x1 minus 2x1, that is 6x1. 16 equal to 6x1. A minus b. Minus 2y1 minus 2 minus 4y1. What is a minus 2b? From this, I remove 2 times this. 4x1 minus 4x1, it will be 8x1 minus 2y1 minus 4y1 minus 6y1 whole square. I can take a 2 common and cancel it. Look, 4 equal to 3x1 minus 2y1 whole square, 4x1 minus 3y1 whole square. I think if I expand, I should be getting answer. This is coming 16 plus 9, 25 x1 square, 9 plus 14, 13 y1 square, minus 12, minus 24, minus 36 x1 y1 equal to 4. Yeah, something like that is there. Okay, is it okay? Overall, what is the meaning of the question and how we are done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wanted to do slightly different actually. Let me see if I can do some other way. I want to use parametric forms. I want to take inclination of this is theta for this line. This is 2, this is x1, y1. So according to parametric forms, this point should be x1 plus 2 cos theta and y1, or maybe I can take minus letters. X1 plus 2 cos theta, y1 plus 2 sin theta. And the other one I can take x1 minus 2 cos theta, y1 minus 2 sin theta. Or if you know parametric forms, right? If there is a line, this is theta, and this point is x1, y1, you want to travel r units along that, it will be x1 plus r cos theta, y1 plus r sin theta. When you come r unit downward, x1 minus r cos theta, y1 minus r sin theta. This should satisfy this, this should satisfy this. In that you eliminate theta, I think you will get this. So how to eliminate theta, we have to see that. But I think that also will come out, not difficult. Because directly when I equate these two, I will get x1 minus y1 equal to 2 cos theta, 2 sin theta minus 2 cos theta. If something else will come and find eliminate theta. If I remember correctly, it will come ellipse. Okay, why? When you take two perpendicular lines and take a length 4 and move this point and move this point, the locus of this is a circle. But if they are not perpendicular, if they are at some other angle and you take a length 4 and keep on moving it and find locus of midpoint, that will come an ellipse. This is finally an ellipse. Okay, today instead of discussing definite integrals, these dots are taking more time, but it's okay, we'll finish it. Okay, 21. Anybody any doubt?
Yes, sir. 21, sir.
Okay, they want continuity at 2 pi. Okay. So lambda should be same as limit extends to pi. This is f of pi, f of 2 pi. Limit extends to 2 pi. This is f of 2 pi. That limit 1 minus cos x by 2 pi minus x whole square tan square x by log of 1 plus the other one also I'll write 2 pi minus x whole square. Okay. So they gave actual expansion of this, but I directly wrote this part and this. Okay. Generally, tending to 0 is more convenient because all our formulas are extending to 0 only or extends to infinity. Okay. So whenever you have extends to a, it is always better to take a minus x as t. So I am going to take 2 pi minus x as t. This is f of 2 pi. This is limit of the function at 2 pi. It will become limit t tends to 0. Wherever x is there, you can write 2 pi minus t. Cos 360 minus theta, cos theta, will get 1 minus cos t by t square. This will become tan square t only because tan 360 minus theta, maybe minus tan theta, but square will take care of that. This will become log 1 plus t square. Now everything is formula only. For this, you write by t square into t square, that is by t square for this also. 1 minus cos t by t square is 1 by 2. Tan t by t whole square is 1. Log 1 plus x by x is also 1. Everything is formula. 3 formulas. It is 1. 1 by 2. That's it. Main point is when tending to 0 is there only, we have all the formulas. If we are tending to pi, take pi minus x as t. If it is tending to 5, take 5 minus x as t. It is all, that is a general concept in limits, which will make it easy. 22 or 23, any doubt? (24) or 25?
24, sir.
Given 4 points, if point D lies on the line which is perpendicular to the plane determined by the points ABC, if the point of intersection of the plane determines points ABC and the line L, oh, they're indirectly asking foot of D on that line. That's it. Correct, na? They're asking D is not in the plane of triangle ABC, but what is the foot of D when you drop a perpendicular line from D to the plane? What is that? So if you know 3 points, you can find the plane equation because you know ABC, you can find the plane equation. Then apply foot formula. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Anything else till last?
25, sir.
Each side of square subtends an angle 60 at the top of a tower 5 meters high standing at the center. If the meter if A is square, achha. Oh, that is quite straightforward. Top of a tower 5 meters high. Then they want side length square. Okay. Just imagine the for 3-dimensional figure. Okay, there is a square like this. This is on the ground. And this is the pole which is standing here. These two are subtending 60. These two are subtending 60. These two are subtending 60, and these two are also subtending 60. So when you join like this to this to this to this is P, this is Q, this is A, B, C, D. Okay. You take any one of the side like this. Let's say this is C, this is B, this is Q. That angle is 60. Okay. And this height of the pole is 5. Based on that, they wanted you to find side of the square. Okay. Based on the height of the pole and that. Okay. This will be A by 2. This is 5 and this is A by 2. And this is 60. From that, I can find some length. Let us see that. I can join here. This is A by 2. This is A by 2. This is 30. Okay. So if you take BC side or any other side and join to Q, that angle is 60. In fact, it is equilateral triangle. Why? These two angles are anyway equal by symmetry. One angle is 60 means other two are also 60. If not, also not a big issue. This total is 60, so this is 30, this is 30, this total is A, so this is A by 2, this is A by 2. I can find what is the height there in terms of A by 2. Tan 30 is this by this, so this height should be A by 2 root 3. So now if you look at this triangle, this is M, I'll call it. Take separated that triangle QPM. QPM. What is this height? 5. What is this one? Half of that A by 2. And what is this? Just now I found it as A root 3 by 2. Pythagoras theorem. 5 square plus A square by 4 is 3A square by 4. 2A square by 4 it will come. 25 equal to 2A square by 4. 2A square equal to 50. A is equal to 5 root 2. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Just a visualization and see what to do. They gave root 2 is 1.41, so 5 root 2. They would have given root 2 as 1.414 is better. Otherwise, answer can be changed. That's all. Somebody is asking 22 in the chart. Let me close with the 22. They gave something into A cap, something into B cap. What is the magnitude of V cap? First of all, here V bar as a function of theta. V bar, they gave it as something into A cap and something into B cap, which are in terms of theta. I'll substitute it later. Mod V cap, I want to find. Okay. So magnitude, not V cap, V bar. Mod V bar. So magnitude of V bar, of course, maybe sorry. Okay. Magnitude of V bar square, let us take, it will be L square into magnitude of this is 1, M square into magnitude of this is 1, minus 2 into L into M into A cap in dot B cap. But A cap dot B cap is cos 60, 1 into cos 60. We are simply getting L square plus M square minus 2LM. No, minus LM, because cos 60 is 1 by 2, cancel this. What is your L? Cos theta plus secant theta whole square. What is M? Cos theta minus secant theta whole square. And this is when you multiply cos square theta minus secant square theta, because this is A plus B whole square plus A minus B whole square is 2 into A square plus B square. So 2 into cos square theta plus secant square theta minus cos square theta minus secant square theta. 2 cos square minus cos square plus 3 secant square theta. How will you find minimum value of this AMG inequality? And this is greater than equal to 2 times root of their product, cos square theta into 3 secant square theta. When you cancel 2 root 3. So magnitude of V square is greater than equal to 2 root 3 means magnitude of V power 4 is greater than equal to 12. So minimum value is 12. So simply use normal formula, okay? Some vector plus another vector, how will you find magnitude? Mod of this whole square plus mod of this whole square plus 2 times their dot product. That came as in terms of theta, and then use AMG inequality, it's easier. Okay, total this paper, anybody, any other doubts?
No, sir.
No, okay. So then we'll go to our determinant, so the definite integrals.